Was the last time you were at work and you got a message that said something like, "Hey, can you jump on this call in a few minutes and give an update on your project?" And your stomach just dropped. Or maybe you're in a meeting and someone puts you on the spot with a question you genuinely don't know the answer to. You feel everyone looking at you and your brain goes completely blank. If any of that sounds familiar, this video is for you. I'm Brittany Canaski, a leadership coach and trainer, and today I'm sitting down with Marianna Swallow, a communications expert who helps people think faster, stay grounded, and speak with confidence, even when things don't go according to plan. Because when do things ever go according to plan? We're talking about what to actually do in these moments, the tactical, real world stuff that nobody ever teaches you. Marianna, welcome. I'm excited to get into this topic.
So am I, Brittany. Thank you so much for having me today to talk.
Yes. So let's dive right in and focus on what happens when that dreaded moment in a meeting that someone puts you on the
hmm
spot with a question that you genuinely don't know the answer to off the top of your head. And this happens to all my clients. I've had this conversation so many times with people. I know I've been in
Yeah.
that moment too. Sometimes you get that deer in the headlights moment and you have all these people looking at you. Is there a way to handle that gracefully where maybe you buy yourself some time or go through it without feeling like you're fumbling or feeling stupid in the moment? I think a lot of people have that as their greatest fear. I don't want to sound dumb in front of people I work with.
Right, right. Yeah, I 100% agree. And this is a tough one, right? Because you and I have talked about this, Brittany. In corporate America, or even the not-for-profit world or education, there's kind of like this floating myth that we have to always have the answer at our fingertips all the time, which isn't realistic, right? So what I invite my clients to do, and yours as well, is have your language ready to go. And I want to be clear, we're making a distinction here. It's not saying, no, I'm not going to answer you. It's buying yourself some time, acknowledging that you need that time, and letting the person know, I'll get back to you. So the response might look something like this. Ooh, okay, good question. I hadn't thought of that before. You know what? I need a minute to research this. Or something like, I want to give you an accurate answer. So if you give me a few minutes, once I get back to my desk, I'll look and I'll get back to you. So I invite people to find whatever words work for them, but write this out and think of the verbiage before that moment happens.
Love that simple preparation, and it's okay to want to get the right answer and take a little bit of time to get there, because I've also heard from people who just say something and they blurt out the wrong answer just to say
Yes.
something, and I think that's more hurtful than it is helpful, to be honest.
It it is. And can I share an example with you? This
Yeah.
is never left me. This is a great example for why you shouldn't give the wrong answer, but also this is a good lesson for people who are either training or in training or sometimes need to teach or lead something.
Mhm.
So my very first L&D job a million years ago was as a software trainer, and each person had their area of expertise. And going to date myself here, but to give you a sense of how long ago this was, one of the classes my company taught was Windows 95, how to use it, what it was, how to use it. And one of the trainers one day was showing, I forgot what it's called in Windows because I have a Mac now, but it's called the Finder, the thing that shows you where all
Mhm.
your files are and
Yeah.
how much space they take up. Well, he was showing the room, oh, this is where you can see your files, and see that one right there says 1 MB. That means it's 1 megabyte in size. And someone in the class noticed there was a smaller file below it that said something like 50 KB. And they asked him, well, what's KB? What does KB stand for? And he didn't know, but he said gigabytes, which
Nice.
for those of you who don't know, it's kilobytes. It's not gigabytes, but megabytes, gigabytes. It's not
Sure.
gigabytes. So it is better to say, you know what, I need to look that up, or you know what, let me check when I get back to my desk because I want to give you the correct answer, and then come back and tell them it's kilobytes. It is smaller than megabytes.
Love
So
that
to your point,
example.
yeah, it could do more harm than good to just come up with an answer in the moment.
Right. Yeah. So, what about those dreaded moments when you're asked to present last minute?
hmm
Again, that example, someone pings you on Slack and asks you to jump on that team Zoom call, talk about your team or project. And obviously there's some sort of expectation usually in our head that we're going to be so eloquent, we have all the answers, we know exactly what to say, but we have
Right.
0 minutes notice to prepare. How can someone
Mm-hmm.
handle that a little more gracefully?
So similar to the question where they don't know the answer, you say, "Okay, great, I'll join you, but give me just a minute." And then you grab your pen and paper, a notebook, your day planner, maybe your phone if you're someone who likes, getting your ideas out on your phone or typing. I personally need to handwrite, but y'all do you. Do whatever works for you, but you need to get a second to write something down and ask yourself, okay, what are 3 things I can tell them about this topic? Or based on whatever they said, get into this meeting and talk about X, or update us on your numbers from last quarter, whatever it is. Ask yourself, okay, what are 3 points I want to make? And they don't have to be lengthy. I'm talking like one sentence for each. You bring that into the meeting. That's what you share. Let everyone else ask questions. And if they do put you on the spot for something that you do need a little more time for, again, have that verbiage ready to go where you can say, I hadn't looked at the numbers that deep, or I was pulled in here last minute. I didn't know you wanted such a deep dive into my QBR. Let me take some time to run back to my desk. I'll come back in 10 minutes. Or I can email everyone after this meeting. Something that lets them know, again, it's not, no, I'm not going to give you an answer. It's, I'm going to give you an accurate answer at a later time. You want to just be very clear there, because there's nothing wrong with being honest and saying, I hadn't looked into that yet, or you know what, I wasn't given much notice for this meeting. Let me have some time to look at this. And I can already hear the voices of some naysayers out there saying, well, you don't know my boss, or you don't know my company. And that's fine, that's fair. But ahead of time, prepare words that will work for you, because you'll know your boss, your situation, your culture better than I do, better than Brittany does. And you can find the right balance of words that can address that situation.
I love this too. And it's making me think of another example I know I've been in, and plenty of my
Yeah.
clients have been in too, of when you're in that meeting giving that update or someone's asking a question and you're tempted to pull up to find the answer in the moment or to pull up the details that they're looking for. Is there maybe a fine line there? Because I've been on the receiving end of that too, of, oh, I'm sitting here waiting for 5 minutes while you're trying to find a file, and that's not helpful or productive either. So, how do people handle that too?
That is a great question. It's the short answer, you kind of hit on it. It's striking a balance. And I say give yourself like a 30-second window. So if you know, or you ask me a question, let's say, and I know that it's here on this PDF file that I just downloaded to my phone, I might say, oh, yeah, Brittany, I've got that right here. It's on my phone. I just saw it. If you can pull it up in 30 seconds or less, great. But if it's something you have to scroll to find, go into your email to search, the search isn't working, let them know, hey, I don't think I can find it for you quickly. Do you mind if I email you once we're done with this meeting? Again, have that verbiage ready to go. And I would encourage everyone who's listening to this right now, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, hop on a different document, your computer, your phone, whatever, and type out 2 or 3 I don't know, but I will get back to you phrases that you can use. And to flip it around, you bring up a really interesting example, because I've been that person too, where someone says they're going to find something and I'm sitting there waiting for 5 minutes. And as they're, scrolling and scrolling, or they're on their computer, I'll say, you know what, we don't have to stay on this call. We can hop off and you can no, 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 I'll find it. And then you're stuck waiting. If you're the person who's stuck waiting, have those words ready to go. I don't want to inconvenience you, and I do have another meeting I have to hop onto at 2 o'clock. Whatever it is, have your verbiage ready to go. That's kind of the key. And even though you might be thinking, well, how do I have it ready to go if the situation hasn't happened yet? That's why we take a minute to write the phrases now. Because even if you don't use those words, just the fact that you thought about it will make you that better prepared to respond in the moment when you are put on the spot.
Definitely. And that's why we're going through these very specific scenarios that we see all the time. And you've probably
Mhm.
experienced them yourself too, several times. So we kind of know a starting point for you. So, one more, my personal favorite scenario about pivoting is
Yep.
when the meeting inevitably goes off the rails. Everyone's on a tangent, you're watching the clock, and the minutes are ticking down, but you somehow need to bring everyone back together to finish the next steps or the main objective of the meeting. How do you pull that off?
I love that. So I'm going to answer this from two perspectives. First one is if you are the organizer of the meeting, you're in charge of the meeting. The first step to at least curb this is to always have an agenda, even if it's just a simple welcome, status update, close, adjourn, whatever it is. Having a simple agenda will always keep you on track. And because you've shared the agenda with everyone, you can always point back to it and say, hey, everyone, we need to wrap at 1:30. It's 20 after. Take a look here. We're still on item 2. Can we please just come back together so we can wrap up on time? It's letting them know in a polite manner the parameters, but also the expectations. Because lots of times when you remind people that you want to wrap up on time, nobody wants to stay in a meeting longer than they have to. Lots of times that reminder of, hey, we're kind of losing the plot here and we're going to be here past 1:30, that's usually enough to get people back on track. You can also, similar to what I said before, prepare your phrases. Hey, everyone, I want to bring us back to, vertical. I don't know if people say that anymore, but that's when I always heard. It means like when the meeting has gone sideways, you want to bring everyone back to vertical, right?
Nice.
Or I will often say, especially in workshops, I'll say, hey, everyone, can we please come back as one big group? And they know that means let's bring the focus back. So again, write those down. Feel free to rip off what I just said. Have those phrases ready to go. Now, the other side of that is what if you're a meeting participant and it's not your meeting, but you did have something to contribute, but now it's going off the rails? You can always just do a polite interruption and remind the organizer, hey, Brittany, just want to jump in here for a second. I'm sure we want to wrap up on time. Can we please keep moving so we can finish the agenda? Again, you don't have to use my words, but a simple, polite reminder to either jog the memory of the organizer or to remind everyone in the room, hey, we don't want to be here past the meeting time, will usually be enough to get people on the same page. So that's what I say is have verbiage ready to go, do a polite reminder, and bring everyone back together as one group.
Yeah, I love all these ideas and examples. And what I'm really getting is that it's not being the most polished person in the room or saying exactly the right words verbatim. It's having
Right.
some quick tools, maybe some sentences written down as a starting point or just something to help you in the moment. So you're not so worried of, ooh, what do I say? And what if I come across in a certain way and all these things? It's just having a starting point to say the thing, to bring us back on track, to move
Yes.
forward when someone's asking you an uncomfortable question. It's just that kind of starting point for people to move forward and not freeze and or not go sideways even more.
Right. And I love that you call it a starting point because that's a lot less daunting than I have to have all the answers. But it really is just a simple starting point and you go from there. And I certainly hope these suggestions help everyone that's watching because I know it's a challenge. And I mean, I deal with this myself, whether it's being put on the spot or dealing with someone who's searching for something for 5 minutes. And it's like, no, really, I need to get back to work. Email me
Yeah.
later. So thank you for asking all this.
Yes, definitely. And I'm sure this resonated with all of the listeners. And if it does, definitely share it with other people who need it. Because again, we're probably not the only people having these thoughts in our heads or fears in these meetings. So share it with people on your team, your peers, and if you want more from Marianna, where can they find you?
Absolutely. You can visit my website at speakeasystrategies.net.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks, Brittany. Great talking with you.